Hey folks, and welcome to Snoqualmie Pass, where Interstate 90 goes up and over the Cascade Mountains here in Washington. That's Guy Peak over my shoulder. We'll talk about it. I'd also like to talk about the shape of that major valley and what that tells us about something that's actually quite unusual here. Where a glacier... You'll have to wait. Thanks for joining us. Let's get started. Well, I'm here at Snoqualmie Pass. I thought I'd stretch my legs a little bit. It's about a 2-hour drive from Seattle to Ellensburg, and I often stop and, if the weather's cooperative up here at the pass, take a little walk. This is right off of Interstate 90. And it's approaching 6 o'clock. How's it going? Approaching 6 o'clock on Saturday night. I don't know about you where you are, but here the trails have just been crazy busy. I've never seen anything like it. But if you show up at a trailhead late afternoon, most of the parking lot is cleared out. We're going to walk a very short segment of a very famous trail. You've heard of the Pacific Crest Trail, I'm sure. Well, we're walking south right now from Snoqualmie Pass on the PCT. But you're no doubt aware that many do the whole thing. Start down at the Mexican border and get yourself to the Canadian border before the snow flies too hard. And Liz and I often hike this portion of the trail and see through-going hikers. Hi, go ahead. You bet. Have a good day.
You too.
Plant people, what are we looking at here? Quite pretty. This late in the year to have this much color. I swear to God, I'm the guy that I used to make fun of. If we'd be out hiking and somebody have some sort of contraption like this, I'd be nice. And then once they got out of earshot, oh man, I'd roast them. That's self-important. Document everything. That guy never had a genuine moment in his life. Well, I don't know what to say. Busted. So I About an hour and a half ago, I was sitting in Daryl Cowan's backyard talking about Baja, BC, and we took a moment to plug his new roadside Geology of Washington book, and I have it with us. So we're about to get into a clearing. Not a natural clearing, mind you. It's a clearing for the ski hill here at Snoqualmie Pass. But we'll crack open Daryl's book and also point out a couple things that are favorites of mine here to point out at the pass. See if we can do it in one take. Still a warm sun for this late in the day, this late in the summer. But a nice cool breeze. Oh man, we still got people on the trail. Do I have to really put my mask on? I'm gonna go way up here. How's it going? Hello. So I'll give you the big panorama here in a bit. I suppose the mic is picking up the freeway noise. It's a bit of a drawback for this, but it's just so handy. It's just so handy to be on a dinky little trail. So yeah, I don't know if you know about the Pacific Crest Trail. Do you picture a portion of the trail going across ski lifts, ski runs like this? It's kind of unique. All right. Why wait? Maybe this will be a short one. I'm turning you north. Busy I-90 below you. You're looking at Snoqualmie Pass. We'll come back to that. Denny Peak, I do believe, although I'm sure somebody will correct me. If it's Denny Peak, I believe that's limestone or marble that's there. And the first major point is that this is the major mountain pass in the Cascades here in Washington, and yet you don't see a volcano at all. 0 volcanoes to look at. Muffler boy, are you effing kidding me? Sorry, Patrick. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you. That's Guy Peak. And I've never been up on top, but I have been over here. This is called the Kendall Catwalk. In fact, I don't know, I'm going to zoom for you. Oh yes. Oh yes. Do you see right in there? My point is, I have been up there. I've never been up on top of Guy Peak, but there's an interesting story about Guy Peak. Pull back. Got spoiled on that Smith Rock morning when I was about as serene as you get. So it's almost September 1st, and there's still plenty of wildflowers. Some Indian paintbrush here. But I've seen some stuff on Instagram just in the last few days from out by Snoqualmie Pass where it's like prime time. Prime time for wildflowers in late August. Seems late to me, but what do I know? I don't have Randy here. I don't know if I can eat it or not. We've either got a gal with a metal detector or she's doing something a bit more scientific. I'll try not to bug her. Creepy guy alert. Okay. Well, I'd like to do two things with you here. One is some geomorphology, looking at some U-shaped valleys, and two, talking about some bedrock. Let's do the maybe the most obvious and easy to follow version, which is the shape of the valleys here. You're looking to the northwest. Look at how beautiful this graceful U shape is, and that's not an accident. There was a major alpine glacier. I'm putting my hand around it right now. And that alpine glacier started over there in King County and flowed through this U-shaped valley, joined I-90, way before I-90 of course, and then continued to the east to Ellensburg, almost to Ellensburg. Okay. That's that big U-shaped valley, but there's also a smaller U-shaped valley which has a floor that's a little bit higher in elevation than this. Would you agree? So we call this a hanging valley. So I started with the major, again, big old hunk. And by the way, I should really include what's up in the blue sky here. So I would approximate the ice to be a few thousand feet thick here. Coming from the distance, coming through the picture and what I just showed you. But here's this smaller U-shaped valley that's perched higher up in the mountains, but this also had some ice, alpine ice, flowing at us directly, coming from there and coming this way. But then this alpine ice flows right into the main Yakima Valley Glacier, we call it, flowing from left to right, flowing from west to east. Take a step back. U-shaped valley that's a hanging valley, major U-shaped valley, which is the main Yakima Valley Glacier. Okay, not bad. Now, it gets better than that, because if I position you right like this, that's looking true north. So the true crest of the Cascades is between us and that peak over there, that forested ridge. This is the true divide. In other words, rivers are going that way to Puget Sound. The rivers are going this way towards Ellensburg, Washington, in my backyard with Bijou the cat. Okay? What I've just described to you is a freak show. And the freak show is these glaciers got their start west of the crest of the Cascades, but instead of flowing west like they should, I'm yelling now because I'm excited, these two lobes of alpine ice crossed over the crest of the Cascades and went east. Now, I'll stop, back up for a second. Whoa, I almost fell in my caboose. And say that it's usually the scene when you're at the crest of a major mountain range, the Cascade Mountains. You usually have a major ridge. And if it's a heavily alpine glaciated mountain area, think Glacier National Park in Montana, think many of the high places in the Sierra Nevada mountains of California. Hell, think many of the high places here in the Washington Cascades. But in this particular spot, that steep wall, what we call an arete, A-R-E-T-E, is missing. And because of that, these two alpine ice streams crossed through, and it's no accident, therefore, that this is a lower pass than the other passes in Washington, and it's not even close. Stevens Pass is to the north, White Pass is to the south, Chinook Pass is to the south, and yet this is the low pass. The elevation is only 3,000 feet above sea level here at Snoqualmie Pass. And so that's why there's a major freeway going back and forth, and that's why there's major commerce between eastern and western Washington coming back and forth over this pass multiple times a minute, I guess. Okay? Not a bad place to see the Yakima Valley Glacier. Can't see it anymore, of course, but where it used to be. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out is Guy Peak. That's G-U-Y-E, Peak. Now, I didn't know this until recently. Let me give you a zoomed up version of this. If you get up on Guy Peak, most of it is sedimentary rock. And a fair amount of that sedimentary rock is sandstone. And you're like, so what? Well, it turns out when you really look carefully at those sandstone layers in Guy Peak, and then you go towards Ellensburg, once you get down low and get out of the mountains, you can find a bunch of sandstone and shale. It's called the Squawk Formation. And there's also some Roslyn Formation, which has some coal seams within it. So down, God, blessed Mary, oh, a silhouette. I swear these guys are on cell phones together. I swear it. What other explanation is there? You gotta be effing kidding me. That's Julie Anders. You're looking at Julie Anders right now. I'm sure he's a valedictorian. My bad. There is a bunch of sedimentary layers down low near the towns of Roslyn and Cle Elum. Those layers are much higher here in the Cascades. In fact, they're only found spladam, right there in Guy Peak. And then we lose the sedimentary layers again. And now I'm going to show you nothing, but give you the idea that if you go back 30 miles, 40 miles that way, and go back down 2,000 feet, you'll find those same sandstone and shale layers, including coal beds, down by Auburn and Black Diamond and Newcastle. So this is a harder one to visualize, but I'm hoping to show you that there's been massive uplift to form this mountains, no surprise there. But this is a remnant of a layer of sandstone and shale, thousands of feet of it, that used to be much lower in elevation. We uplift the Squawk Formation high into the Cascades, have all sorts of volcanism and other sorts of magma invasion from below, and the only thing left of that originally continuous sedimentary cover, the Squawk Formation of Guy Peak. I don't really know what kind of rocks these are. They look like marble to me, or limestones, which makes sense because there's an incredible mixture. You know, it's like a fine-grained limestone to me. Maybe the biggest message to you with this short episode is that you can get up high in the Cascades and find rocks that are not lava rock. Is that a shock to you? It kind of is to me. You might be able to see a little body of water down there. That's Lake Ketchulus. It's a natural lake, but it's been the moraine that contained the original lake was fortified with a dam for irrigation purposes. But there was a lake there before the 20th century. Guess it's limestone. Limestone / marble. I think that's got to be Kendall Catwalk. Right up in there. So you park here and work your way up on the Pacific Crest Trail through the trees. You get out of the trees. It starts to get real good right up through there. And the Kendall Catwalk is a very impressive section of the trail that has a big drop off on your east, to the east of you. Maybe Liz and I will do that. I think we did that about this year I think we did Kendall Catwalk about this time last year, I was trying to say. Labor Day weekend, as a matter of fact. So that might be a nice little day hike. This trailhead is about an hour from Ellensburg, less than that even. And this is also the major mountain pass that we use to get over to the Seattle airport when we go visit family, etc. Well, thanks everybody. That's an episode on Snoqualmie Pass in the books. Short and sweet, talking about the sandstone of Guy Peak and also that really impressive U-shaped valley that's now behind my head, but I think you saw it earlier. Next time, who knows where we'll go, but for this one, we're at Snoqualmie Pass. I love you, thank you, and goodbye.